And in addition, it just kind of complements the way Alliance like to play Dota. Specifically, if they have a Death Prophet with an Oracle behind it, I think that game goes a little differently. But ultimately, I don't know how much draft really played into it. I think FlyToMoon are just, they're playing heroes they're good at, and they just came out to brawl. Like, they just played great.
It just brings up so many things, though, when we look at how they started off the day. We're like, oh, they didn't actually have to expose that much information. They might not have to expose anything, but they might also not even have anything. I mean, that's the big question. The thing is, at the end of the day, they have a solid lineup that fits their playstyle that's been working, and they're about to take potentially 4 games in a row.
And I'm curious what you think as well, Lacoste. Like, banning out Doom Phoenix again as Alliance to me is a bit odd, because I don't see them as power heroes for FlyToMoon. They're just strong heroes in the meta. And I'm a convert to the puppy school of drafting. Like, you kind of just give people powerful heroes and have a plan against them. Or, you know, if Alliance get Phoenix, I think they're super confident. I think it just benefits them more to leave it in the pool versus, once again, you're going up against Batrider Tiny.
After you've seen FlyToMoon play 3 games in a row, I think they could have gone with a different kind of bans. Like, these are just comfort heroes, and they played these heroes 3-4 games in a row now, which means that they're ready. You know, some mistakes that you made, you're actually getting better by playing that hero throughout the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Of course, you're going to start to feel good.
Well, it also, FlyToMoon is one of those teams, like, they're not a very complex squad. I don't mean to lie. I'm not trying to insult them. They're just, you know, we watch like Secret play Dota, right? It feels like at times just we just lost. Like, we're just out strategized. There's this 10-minute timing. This Bloodseeker's got a veil. We're done for. FlyToMoon, again, now an Invoker. Like, they're just gonna play their best heroes and try to win the game. And these are not really, it's not like complex to execute. It's like, hey, I got this guy, Tiny. Oh, I got this guy. Cool. Let's go kill the tower now.
Yeah, they definitely needed a spell for Darkseer Surge and Ion Shell. Like, I just want to see what kind of carry they're gonna go for. I mean, they could go for Slark. Now they have Darkseer to, you know, buff him up and take care of him in the team fights, but it's also dispellable.
Yeah, how did you guys feel about the Slark? Because, Kyle, you kind of almost brought up the idea of, like, hey, look, we haven't seen much of Slark. How does it actually fit into things? And I feel like you put a lot of pressure on that game to actually see whether or not Slark was going to fit into the meta well. But I almost feel like there's a little bit of a dissonance there with how well FlyToMoon did play.
The trouble I have with it is just you're kind of always... Slark, again, I keep comparing to Void, but, like, Void has something that you're afraid of. Whereas Slark's big ultimate is nearly almost always used defensively. And I feel like you just see Nico Baby kind of lost in these engagements at times. And I'm just not a huge fan of the hero. Maybe if there was like a Darkseer, as we see in this game, it could be a bit better. Because then you at least have something that helps the Slark play Dota better. That is really good in laning phase against this Darkseer Earth Spirit combo.
Yeah, some of the heroes that are good in the laning phase are gone. You have AM being banned out, Spectre being banned out, so is Sven. You know, you want to have a hero that can sustain all this pressure coming out from the Darkseer, so you're going to be farming underneath the tower. And Lifesteal, he does not need to care too much about being pressured by Ion Shell, Roland from the Earth Spirit. He can just easily dodge that. They lack a bit of control for this Void Spirit. That's what I love for Alliance. Yeah, you have Tornado, you can dispel his shield, but still, I don't think it's enough, especially when you have Oracle sitting behind them. The much more mobile lineup coming out from Alliance this time.
I mean, you talk about comfort picks. This is a team we wanted to see Lifestealer from throughout the day. Finally, they find an opportunity to weave it in, potentially close out the day, secure their spot among the Immortals. Is there anything in particular, though, that you're looking for FlyToMoon? You said that control is something that you want, Lacoste. Is there anything in particular that you are looking for in that category to potentially be able to shut down the Spirit?
So Alliance is banning out offlaners. Beastmaster is gone, so they think that this Batrider is going to be shifted towards position 4. Possibly. I mean, they can swap things around. Like, anything is doable with their kind of a lineup. The only thing set in stone, pretty much, is your Lifestealer being the position 1. They just banned Beastmaster and Enge. That's very weird coming out from Alliance.
Could you see them Slardar here, or is that a bit much? Just like to bring back that old school combination.
Sure.
Okay, even better. The General Pango or Roger Pango. It's very open still. FlyToMoon can alter who's playing like Tiny Pango and Bat based on the laning matchups they foresee. This is a big pick for Alliance. It's the Nico Baby hero, and I don't think you want to go Illusion Core for sure, which is typically a direction you want against Lifestealer, but there's too much.
There are not many heroes left in the pool.
Yeah.
Like, all these carry heroes are banned out. What is there left? Jug? PA?
Jug isn't bad.
You need a hero that's good against the Batrider in the laning stage. So Jug comes to my mind. He benefits from Surge Ion Shell.
Could Weaver, but that's real squishy. The trouble I see is you don't have any method of taking towers right now on Alliance, and I'm always hesitant to buy into a draft they have without that. I played with Hanskin a lot, and I think it's just much easier for him and Limp to read the game when they've got a something that just sort of makes sense to play around. Like, okay, we got this kill. Because we have this hero, we can make a play for Roche, or we can just go kill this tower. Whereas without it, you're just kind of forced to always make moves. And they go for the Weaver.
I mean, they needed a hero that, you know, is good in the laning stage against the Batrider, but I'm not sure you benefit too much from this Darkseer. Not the greatest combo coming out from Oracle and the Weaver, and it's also Weaver into Tiny and Invoker. Like, you can just go from 100 to 0 in a second. It's a very squishy hero.
They do have limited lockdown, though, and to your point, they have the Darkseer you can play with. I like it a lot with Earth Spirit as well. I'm a big fan of either Clinks or Weaver because you find this Invoker, you find this Bat in the back lines open, and Earth Spirit can roll forward immediately. That might just be a kill, and it's on the most high priority target. You really have just 2 stuns on the side of FlyToMoon. The concern is just the mid game, because if you try to push towers as Alliance into Pango Tiny, like Invoker Tornadoes, Pango ults rolling forwards, like I don't actually know how you take a fight at a choke point.
Also, what Alliance does not have is any abilities that go through magic immunity, so they can't stop the roll, which is a big problem. So that means General, which is he's a great Pango player, you know. So the rolling boulders are gonna be in those team fights, just resetting them. And that's what I like, you know. I feel like you need to have some kind of a BKB piercing ability, magic immunity that can stop the Pango's roll.
Kind of feels like the biggest thing that Alliance does have in their favor right now going to be the odds on EGB.com. And as someone who tends to be a gambling man, I feel like going for the underdog right now could be a wise decision potentially. Keep in mind, jumping into this one, if we see FlyToMoon take this next game, they will manage to secure their spot in the Immortal bracket. Let's find out if they're going to be able to do it.
That's right, they seem to be rocketing their way up to that playoffs, but they have to close out this series first. Fogged, and, well, we closed out that cast talking about, like, okay, this Tiny Batrider's a problem. I offered you a Sophie's Choice that said pick one. You said, okay, it's the Batrider, and apparently Alliance has said, oh, we'll just leave them both in.
Yep. I mean, they made it work last time. It looked real hot, and now there's an even squishier hero. There's a Weaver.
Yeah.
Sure, Weaver is more elusive, I could say, in the lane in comparison to a Slark versus the Bat. But yeah, they popped off, and yeah, they are going to switch it up, though, right? Because we did see that Pango as the last pick, so it's not going to be General playing the Bat. So, I mean, maybe that's the that's a little alteration that Alliance did need, not having General playing down. But love General on his Pango. He is a really, really strong Pango player. We see that Platinum up there, of course. He loves to spam this hero. And I think they have good frequency for fighting. That's the one thing that I did see on Alliance's draft this time compared to last time. They were pretty cooldown reliant the last time, and I feel like FlyToMoon kind of took advantage of that, the way they reset and took their fights in a better manner. Alliance not really cooldown reliant this time. They can look to fight every single time. Match that aggression.
Bounty Rune's about to spawn. Save that for later.
Okay.
And Always Want to Fly already setting up those sticky napalm stacks, but because it's a Darkseer, this is not an easily won fight. And they're just going to have to back away.
There's a lane where you just want to sustain. Always Want to Fly. He's gonna try to kill people or anything that overcommit, but for the most part, it should just be V2 and just sitting there kind of sustain. As long as they don't get their double waved, I think that's really important. I think they have to actually just play ahead of the lane, exactly what they're doing right now. 2S4, just push him away so he can't actually get double ion shells on the waves to push it in super hard, because they don't have ways to force the lane out. A lot of times when you do see teams versus Darkseer, when they have the safe lanes, they try to kill those creep waves really quickly, but their heroes just don't, so you have to push them away. And let's see how they do up top. This is a tough lane for General.
Yeah.
In comparison to him playing like the Bat Rider versus melee heroes or anything like that, he is a squishy Pango versus double ranged.
I do not like playing against Oracle.
Ever as the offlaner.
Ever as the offlaner, but especially a squishy one like Pango that is so susceptible to magic damage in the first place.
Yeah.
They're going to need some sort of shenanigans here, and you can see already Rogers doing the pulling behind the tower.
Both teams are actually doing that because of the way. I think this is because of how FlyToMoon played that right initial start. Just because they cut S4 away from the wave, they actually forced these weird plays that Hanskin has to start to do. Okay, and then, yeah, we glance at that mid. Should be pretty good for the Void Spirit. You have a much better animation, but you're going to get harassed a lot. And Invoker should be able to at least make you force a lot of that gold, even though you're leading in last hits on that regen that you're going to have to buy. But yeah, definitely checking runes is going to be really important in this one for Roger. So at 4 minutes, we're going to likely see him leave that top lane to check, because Limp, that's going to be the sustain he needs. Nice deny. Yeah, look at that. That animation is insane.
Yeah, it is really good. Void Spirit. I feel like I don't want to say came out of nowhere, because obviously he'd been playing mid pretty consistently since he had been pulled out, but I feel like over just this last month, he's just all of a sudden had this crazy streak of mid play that's been super successful. Yeah, compared to all the other spirits.
I mean, I feel the same way, actually. He's been feeling really strong. I don't know if it's because of like these null changes or anything like that, something along those lines. There's something about the hero, though, that definitely does. And I mean, I do think like bottles becoming super popular again and just like these slight little null changes, I think it does enable those type of heroes to really run rampant.
Iceberg doing the best he can, really trying to pressure Limp as much as possible. Does still have the cold snap, but he does have a healing salve. He has to go out of vision just in case that long-range cold snap could catch him otherwise.
Yep. And the matchup is kind of playing out as we were saying, right? It's going to be leading Void Spirit last hits, but he'll spend money on regen, so we'll probably see that continue. Top, we are continuing to see General suffer. Roger not having the game that he did have in the last one where he was able to easily set up for some combos.
Yeah, Roger was such a big reason why FlyToMoon was able to take over the game so early. And he had that very early level 7 before 10 minutes, which is kind of insane for a 4 position. And I doubt he's going to be able to have the same kind of success rotating into the mid lane as well, right? Where last time he was against Death Prophet, a little bit harder to lock down a Void Spirit.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, he still definitely can, though. He still can do the, you know, he can smoke up like he did the last game, because he did smoke in the first game as well. And there is a ward there, but that might be able to catch off guard. But yeah, it's about rune checking. So we see he's already in position. Hanskin actually gets a courier snipe behind tower. Nice, cheeky. But yeah, Roger sitting top rune. They're going to go send the Earth Spirit bottom on the side of Alliance to make sure that, or to hope that Limp is able to find that rune.
I like that. Roger stacking while he's securing the rune. Iceberg heads on over. It's a DD. Thought about denying it. And then
I was like,
I guess it's free.
That's going to be a good pickup for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Quasuex Invoker, who always suffers just a little bit in the damage department.
Seeing bottom, they're just trying to trading farm. VTune is able to secure himself farm down here just fine. Bad Rider's helping out, zoning away that Earth Spirit with, I think, what, 6 stacks. It's something he had on him for a moment. But yeah, tough to threaten S4. Just, you can always surge away. And it looks like he's going to do the Vanguard build again. He's done this a lot of the times he's played the Darks here.
Another healing salve. Limp is having to burn through decent amount of net worth through all of this one. Jump away, General. It's got the swarm on him. He's got to get rid of that. Fortunately, it's only a level 4 Weaver, so it doesn't really have that true chasing power. Roger looks like he wants to secure a bounty rune somewhere, but he'll get neither as a result of that double push in from Alliance.
Nice play there by them. General's probably like, all right, cool, that's chill, I'm fine with this. I don't care if they get the bounties. I got a little bit of a lane. I actually see that General also, he bought an Orb of Venom, even though he's in a tough lane. I usually see that Orb of Venom picked up a lot, but usually when you can get aggressive.
Yeah, usually up against melee heroes that you can actually get hits on in the first place.
Yeah. That's his first 300 gold, too, after like the starting item, so bit surprising, but it's just a probably preference. Nice little side pull by Roger. Gets that lane back for General, and hey, all things considered, I mean, General's going to be approaching level 5 versus a Weaver Oracle lane, and he's got last hits to boot. I mean, I think he's very happy up here, even though they haven't, you know, made any plays with Roger. He's done the creep pulls all the time.
Yeah, everything can be forgiven if you get that fast level 6.
Yeah.
Battling up against FNG, does manage to get the lucky shot. Roger looking for just a toss combo here to finish him off, and they do manage to get the first blood. The roll in from Hanskin doesn't quite land on a General. The slowdown is there. General's he does have a lot of one charges. He should be good here.
Plays with that armor from under the tower there, knows he doesn't have to pop it as well. Very nicely done. And there, I mean, okay, I'll prevent him. You know, he got the slow, you know, so that the Tiny can get into range. Makes sense. Now that's like the dream, I feel like, for a Pango in this type of situation, right? Like, you're playing for double range, and you're not having fun there. So.
And a tri-lane showed up. Yep. The mid rotated over as well. Now, doesn't catch you. Instead, it catches Roger, the very underleveled Tiny.
Iceberg looked like he wanted to TP there, but too many heroes. It is 4. They're trying to capitalize on a catapult timing, which is very... I mean, this is not something you see every day anymore. The offlane tower getting so punished that they really want this... This is some, like, throwback 8 years ago when people were like, double pull the creep wave, take the offlane tower. Me and Lacoste were actually just memeing about this upstairs before. How this is literally what people used to do back in the day. They're actually going to get this full tower.
So this is a bit of a meme stat, Fogged, but when a team takes the offlane tower as the very first tower, they have like over a 70% win rate.
Okay.
Usually all that means is that the lanes went so shit.
Yeah.
that you somehow lost your offlane tower and the carry didn't feel like he needed to rotate like he normally does, but it is interesting nonetheless, I think.
I mean, it's super... like I said, look, back in the day when we all used to play, that was the thing to do. You single pull, you double up the catapult wave, and you take the tower and you dive the hell out of them, and then you just like win the game. Nowadays, like, nobody does that because it just gives a free lane to the offlaner. So, I mean, General, we said he already started off pretty well. If he keeps this lane static right there, he's able to just TP to any lane and do pretty much anything he wants. But there's going to be a lot of wards, though.
What's kind of cool is that Alliance, they got that aggressive ward inside the triangle after taking the Tier 1 tower, so they actually have a decent control of the triangle as a result. It's not like FlyToMoon really needs to make much use of that, though. Their lineup is inherently very aggressive, and they don't have a carry that, like, really plays around Ancients too much, right? Avalanche going to try and stop this.
They actually got
nice combo. That is the nerf to dissimulate animation that happened a couple patches ago, right?
Those little mini stunts. I mean, Tiny's always going to be able to do stuff like that in turn with a cold snap too, and they don't have to use the Rolling Thunder either.
Yeah.
So General able to go and farm, I believe, the stacks that Roger had set up for him. And, I mean, look at Roger. He's like Hanskin's going to roll, and I'm going to catch him.
Always want to fly. Jeez, this is such a deep chase here.
He's forcing reactions.
The Limp, he's going to come in and try and clean up the kill. Double Astral Step and hits him with the Remnant, so that will be a kill.
Okay. Doesn't end up... Does he clear out any of the creeps? Oh, looks like not many of them died, so I don't think VTune will be too mad. He's probably like, hey, dude, don't steal my creeps. But, like, actually, yeah, okay. Looks like one of them died, and VTune's actually going to only get experience from one of them there, so, okay. He does, like, mess up the wave a little bit there, but plays with his life.
Pull back. Limp grabs Iceberg. Iceberg has Tornado EMP, so Limp still has to be careful, especially with Roger in the neighborhood. Does have a ward on the other side of the river here to be able to see Roger, so he shouldn't be caught by surprise.
Super even early game here. I don't know who even is like happier about this, right? Because I feel like, I guess maybe FlyToMoon just because of the Pango getting so much at a top, but I mean S4 is massive, so he's probably like whatever.
Hanskin, he's going to have to find an opening to be able to roll away, or maybe not, because FNG's here. He can make a Magic Immune. He can also cleanse off the sticky Napalm stacks. A lot of answers to the Bat Rider.
They're responding with 4 almost every single time on Alliance. Now they have an Urn too, I believe, finished up, so that'll be nice if they do get another situation like that. Great responses. Iceberg, he's not able to make the moves. Limp is getting more active than him in these first few moments. After getting killed, of course, that first time. Speaking of active.
Iceberg coming in, trying to stop the roll away. The Surge instead is what's going to get Hanskin out of danger.
Great save. General still wanting to stay in the area. This is a very tanky Darkseer, though. Like we said, S4, he likes to go for the Vanguard build. which is a bit different, but not a lot of ways that you kill this man when he's sitting above, what, like 1,200, 1,400 HP, yeah. No way that you can die for him. So lane's gonna just go a little bit more static here. Batrider always want to fly, wanted to consume some of the levels. I mean, a Nico Baby's gonna have a real fast Deso this game since he just has no pressure on him.
Especially if they can get an extra kill, and always want to fly, who really big difference. Game 1 to game 2,
yeah.
These supports are very underleveled.
He is really suffering. Limp is on point with his movements. These wards that they have placed out early. Even these sentries too to cover the bases. FlyToMoon has no vision toward that top side, so Limp. Nice moves.
Always a big fan when you have a greedy 4 position and you have a mid that can run around the map.
Yeah.
And that's what Iceberg has been doing, opening up that mid lane. VTune should be fine here, is actually going to TP out while General TP's in. He had Infest and everything, so that was a bit curious.
Guess he just really wanted to switch where he was playing on the map. I think he's just sick of playing bottom, I guess. I'm not sure what else it would be.
Okay.
But now he's gonna, I mean, now he's putting himself versus a Weaver, which is not really the greatest thing in the world for him either.
No,
so
not at all.
Roger.
Just a little bit shy there of catching Hanskin. Man, it feels like FlyToMoon just cannot make any moves right now without being spotted. They're going to head out to the bottom lane where big dive is coming in from Alliance right now. Hanskin, he's going to whiff as the rolling boulder doesn't go far enough. The tornado comes through, that also is going to whiff, but a nice jump, the avalanche toss up in the air, and they do manage to lock down Nico Baby with a beautiful rolling thunder on top of all of that. As for a cute little juke over to the side, dodges a lot of damage. The Surge is coming back up. The Avity disables. He's going to be good, and oh, look at this with the Magnetize on top. Limp has a free fight to win here. Picks up 2 kills. Looking for a third on General as they've got Fortune's End. That's going to be able to catch him, lock him down. He may have another swashbuckle in the tank. Goes for the TP out.
Ooh,
but the stuns are there.
Optimistic TP for sure.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Ooh, so much mobility on Alliance this time around. That's what we were talking about, right? They aren't that reliant on cooldowns this time, and their heroes, they can move real quick. They do lose Nico Baby right at the start of it, but Darkseer, the Earth Spirit, that Void Spirit, they can get around the map so quickly to be able to match that aggression. They get there in time.
So
Vanguard paying off.
Do you think that was a conscientious decision by Alliance heading into this Game 2's draft? They're saying, we're going to give them this, but this time around, like instead of focusing on the team fight aspect, we're going to focus on being able to play faster than them.
That's what it looked like, right? At least for me, when I see like them going for like a Void Spirit instead of Death Prophet, right? That kind of style. Ooh, that's a real big S4. What the? He gets caught. He did not expect him to move there at all. He was farming very dangerously. Yeah, at least from what it looks like, I would imagine that they wanted to just play at a faster pace.
Nice rolling there from Hanskin, and the lucky shot doesn't actually hit Nico Baby, so the damage is still there. Looks like we're going to be trading safe lane towers still.
I'm worried about what Always Wanna Fly is going to contribute in this game.
Yeah.
Especially like Weaver's going to have a Deso pretty much finished up. He's going to get 3-shotted in pretty much every occasion. He's going to just have to be real far back and just be this annoyance with Sticky.
Meanwhile, Oracle has 1,000 more net worth than him, but also Oracle doesn't need a whole lot of net worth to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, exactly. This 5-position Batrider is not going to be able to do much, but Roger, he still gets a 14-minute Blink Dagger somehow in this game.
Yeah. All that space he was given by Iceberg in the mid lane, Roger's just been farming away. He's soon going to have his combo maxed out. If he can get to level 9 with Blink Dagger, then Tiny is officially at a big, big peak.
Yeah, Nico Baby went for a squishy build. He went for the Deso. I saw he does have Dragonlance next queued up, but he is at potential of getting burst by this Tiny in a lot of situations. The rest of the heroes, not so much. Void Spirit still, but Darkseer, no. Darkseer and Earth Spirit still going to be those tough ones for him to grab. See Iceberg, this game, not going for the Urn. Not as important when he's not playing versus Death Prophet, not playing versus Timbersaw. Doesn't have to go for Vessel. He wants Orchid because of that mobility in particular versus Void Spirit.
Yeah, we'll see if that lockdown works out. Limp already has an answer to it in the Yule Scepter, but very often Void Spirits like to be able to use that Yule's offensively, so...
Still big that he has it so fast.
Yeah.
Those every single one of his rotations has worked. He's been
just
able to
like
find
this,
heroes
he's
all the
be able
time.
To catch General, pulls him back into the wall. Hanskin nails him with the roll-in.
Nicely done. Yeah, Limp is, I mean, he's on fire. He's really looking, I mean, Death Prophet's a comfortable
Nico,
hero,
baby.
but...
Roger is there.
Oh, he spotted him.
Spots
Silence.
him, managed to get the silence on top of him. So Nico Baby's going to be able to get that kill before Roger gets off a combination.
From the way that they're playing as well, I do have to say, it really does feel like they're all about that faster kind of play this time. Like, it matches their lineup, but it's just, this is what it looks like they want it to be. That matching style versus FlyToMoon, because FlyToMoon likes to fight. That's the type of team they are. They like to try to match the aggression, so Alliance is just meeting them at every single point. And now, I mean, they have a mech now even on the Darkseer on top of that Vanguard, so everyone on the side of Alliance is now much harder to pop from Roger.
Yeah. I feel like, again, that's another thing where we focus so much on draft and like hero interactions and stuff. Like, sometimes teams are just looking at strategy of, against this team, how do we want to actually play? Nice roll in onto the Iceberg Invoker, who dies immediately. Now, General has a good Rolling Thunder that's controlling up Hanskin, but V-Tune is struggling to be able to finish him off, and FNG bails him out with that false promise. Now, S4 has free ways to disengage with the Surge, so V-Tune, you could see he just doesn't pump out enough damage to threaten anybody on Alliance just yet.
No, I mean, it really does feel like they're going to start falling into further and further damage issues as this Oracle is just always... We saw it last game, but from the other side, this Oracle just always in the right place and just negates everything. And
it's such a single target focused lineup, right? Bat Rider, Lifestealer, Invoker, Quaswex Invoker, you know, it's definitely going to be a potentially strong game. We're going to see how FlyToMoon address the Oracle problem, though, because we said Alliance... They really struggled getting on top of the Oracle first in a team fight, so maybe Roger can do a bit better.
Yeah, it's gonna be really up to Roger in general to find that backline. I think I saw General doing like the Yule's Blink. He has to go for this type of build to find this Oracle in the back.
Right on top of each other, they do go for the Infest combination against Hanskin, but Alliance is right next to him. They're going to be able to get the... oh, no, does manage to get off the Rage before the Remnant can grab him. That is a... do they have any Suns? Oh, there's the vacuum. Close. I was so puzzled. I was like, they gotta have a Sun somewhere, right? V-Tune struggling to get out here. Always Want to Fly was saying, take me instead of him. And Alliance says, well, why not both? And there is going to be Always Want to Fly getting popped before his TP could complete. Now the Astral step forward. Yule Scepter. They have the Remnant to be able to pull him back in. The toss forward, though, comes in from Roger, does a decent amount of damage, and allows General to be able to get off that Rolling Thunder. Chasing Nico Baby. Spots him once. Hits him, trying to bounce off the wall to stay on top of him. Nico Baby, he's pretty healthy. He's got 1,200 HP. He's feeling good right now. Looks to be able to chase into this tier 3. Roger, meanwhile, tried to pop close. S4, but it was so close. Did S4 have a raindrop? The Sunstrike missed him. And Roger, he had no way to be able to get out of that.
They're really starting to snowball. They're all just... It's every single time, it's just like 5 heroes, right? Alliance just ends up with 5 heroes in every single situations. They're just outpacing. And it's really starting to feel like FlyToMoon, they just don't have damage in their draft versus this Oracle. Versus this Darkseer as well with that early mech. They're really starting to run away with this one. Limp just playing way more comfortable, it looks like, on this hero than on Death Prophet. You know, like I was saying, the Death Prophet's one of his comfort picks, but he's looked much better on his Void Spirit recently. He just is able to be more active.
Now, Weaver is one of the oldest counter picks to Lifestealer in the game. Lifestealer has changed a bit. We've also got a lot of different items that were not in the pool in the old school days of Dota.
For sure.
Do you feel like this matchup has changed at all, or do you think it's still a pretty heavily one-to-one counter?
I think it's still pretty heavy for the majority of the game. It's once Lifestealer is able to get like Abyssal Blade. That's the one that changes it, right? Halberd, sure, is going to be able to you take less damage, but you're still never going to be able to actually threaten the Weaver until you have an Abyss.
Oh, that feels bad. They get the Orchid off, but a Yule Scepter stops the Pango from getting off that Rolling Thunder. He may still have a chance to be able to get it, but he has so much damage coming his way. He's still going to be rooted up. Meanwhile, they've lost the Earth Spirit, though, and chased away the Bat Rider. 1 for 1 so far as General gets away thanks in part to the Infest from V-Tune, giving him that big increase in health pool.
A golden thread.
Working their way towards bounties, and it looks like FlyToMoon may actually end up the better for it as long as they don't get caught. Grabbing this one here, the Invoker is in some big-time trouble. Needs to be able to pop the Ghostwalker Tornado, gets neither off.
That was an excellent fight the way Alliance took it. Poor General. I felt for him in that fight. He's just winding up his Rolling Thunder, gets canceled. Winding it up again, gets canceled. Winding it up a third time, gets canceled a third time, and then from there, the fight has taken too long. Sure, they killed the Earth Spirit, but Mech was popped from Darkseer. Everybody else wasn't controlled. They were able to just freely take that fight on Alliance.
It sucks, but I think there's a pattern set where you have to start just accepting, okay, I got a Rolling Thunder from a bit of a distance and kind of come in. I'm not going to get that full duration that I want to, but I don't think you could swashbuckle into these engagements anymore. There's too many near instant stuns from Alliance. You got the stun from Hanskin and the silence. You've got the Yules and the Aether Remnants. You've got Vacuum that goes off instantly. Fortune's End is fast enough to catch you.
And now they're in a tough spot, because Nico Baby, sure, he might have been, threatened because of Tiny, threatened because of Pango, but his BKB, no threat anymore. And with the backing of FNG, who's now about to hit level 12, cast range increased for Oracle on the ulti, so he can sit even further back. He'll probably get it after the next fight or after a couple creeps here.
Pupil's Gift makes Nico Baby super tanky, and he's got an Aegis. I feel like this Weaver is just not going to die at all.
It's starting to feel like that, yeah. Iceberg, he's not having the game he had last time. It's the opposite, right? It's Limp actually being the one who's dictating the pace, who's making all the moves. Iceberg seems to not be able to find much of anything in this one.
3-man smoke up from Alliance. They continue to keep hitting FlyToMoon to keep them off kilter.
Arcane Rune, Nico Baby's got BKB, so they just have to bail.
Yeah, and it's a cute play. I always want to fly with the lasso TP out.
Oh,
saving him, but right into a sentry. So unfortunate for Iceberg. He's probably sitting there like, God, I cannot seem to catch a break, but that's what that ward sentry combo is there for.
Such good coverage by Alliance this time around. Yeah, Iceberg he's not having a game. He's just unable to really do anything. And now as it progresses, it gets harder because they're all getting BKBs, higher levels for Earth Spirit, for silences, for stuns. It's looking rough. Looking real rough right now for FlyToMoon. Don't see how they take any of these head-on engagements with how farmed Alliance is now at this point with their heroes. This Bat Rider, as we said, he was probably going to be out of it for the majority of this game, but it looks like it's going to be for all of it as they're diving for him again.
They're going to get oh no, the vacuum pull in. General, he has to swashbuckle backwards. V-Tune pops out of General here, but doesn't feel good about engaging, at least not yet anyway.
Ooh.
There's going to be an Orchid just kind of whiffing onto the Void Spirits, and Alliance. It's looking like they can kind of freely go in here in a second as Limp is going to do so against the Invoker. Managed to grab him with the Aether Remnant. Nico Baby commits his BKB to ensure that the mid of FlyToMoon goes down. General with a good Rolling Thunder disruptive, but there's no damage behind it. As you can see, V-Tune can't even deal with Hanskin. In fact, he is getting pulled back into his doom. He's dead. He may have buyback, but without the Invoker,
they just call it.
Yeah, they're just done. They said, okay, Alliance, you got us. Let's go to a game 3. Let's just have a nice clean reset and not lose the mentality that got us into this position of just being one game away from heading to playoffs in the first place.